Good evening. I'm Kay Eakey. I'm the president-elect and a 27-year charter member of the Hot Springs Civitan Club. We're a nonprofit, nonpartisan civic organization, and our motto is Builders of Good Citizenship. Prior to the last general election, I planned to request a program like this for one of our club meetings. But then I decided it deserved a larger audience. And so I approached the library about partnering with us and opening it up to the public. That program was so well received, we decided to do it again this year. The library is live streaming it on their Facebook page and their YouTube channel, so folks that can watch it at home or watch it, the recording of it, later at their convenience. We very much appreciate those of you who came out this evening and those who are watching online. Our thanks to the Garland County Library for broadcasting this important information to a larger audience. We all need to know what these issues are about before we go mark our ballots. Alison Crane will be sharing with us information developed by the University of Arkansas Public Policy Center. Ms. Crane is a Family and Consumer Sciences Agent for the Garland County Office of the Arkansas Cooperative Extension Service, a part of the University of Arkansas system. Extension agents wear many hats. Some of their programs include Master Gardener, Extension Homemaker Clubs, 4-H, many individual services, as well as some very informative podcasts. I appreciate her squeezing us in between the county fair last week and the big arts and crafts fair the first weekend in October. Alison is a graduate of Ouachita Baptist University. She and her family have lived in Garland County for 12 years. Alison describes her job as an extension agent as taking relevant, research-based information from the university level to county residents to benefit their daily lives. Please join me in welcoming Alison Crane.
Thank you, everyone. Usually I have to go into a big explanation of who I am and what I do. So tonight that is simplified. And so I will just say from the beginning, let me make it clear. I am trying to create as much unbiased information and get it out to you as possible this evening. And so most of my program is scripted, which means I will be reading some of this. The reason for that is I am trying, again, to be unbiased and, well, let me put it this way. For anyone who actually knows me, not sarcastic. Okay. So, again, this is not my normal mode of operation. Paul can testify to that on several of my programs and things. I tend to be animated and active and all over the place. But we're going to keep it low-key tonight and get you the information that you need so that you can make a decision for something that is very important for all of us, being good citizens and being active in our communities and making a difference by how we vote. So with the ballot issues, we've got several ones that we're going to be covering tonight. And we do this, we've been doing this for many years now. And Kristen Higgins is our state specialist. And let me tell you, she does an excellent job of researching this information all year long. She follows the state legislature. She follows anyone that, from a citizen level, that provides a ballot issue. And she goes in and she interviews people for both sides. Now, tonight, I'm not going to present a lot of information on what the pros for the issue are saying and what the cons or those who are against it, not cons, as anybody, you know, see what I mean? All right, so, but that will be more available in the ballot books when we get those. And those will, they're waiting to get the latest information from the court cases that are happening right now. And so that information will be then compiled and finalized. And the books will be out they are telling us they should be available September 30th. And we'll get copies of them, printed copies, as well as they will be available online. This program is designed to create awareness, give you the knowledge you need to make informed decisions, and encourage voting, to let people know what is going on in our communities. So let's get into this a little bit. I'm going to give you a little background information first. Arkansas's Constitution dates back to 1874, and voters have approved 102 amendments since then. But they have rejected efforts to pass entirely new or updated state constitutions in the past years. The only way to change the state constitution is through a vote of the people. Now, Arkansas is one of 15 states where citizens have the ability to petition and put constitutional amendments, state laws, and veto referendums on the ballot for voters to decide. We are the only state in the Southeast with this level of democracy. Now, other states in the U.S. have the citizen initiative process, but ours and 14 other states have a more robust process. In other words, our citizens can propose things and change things directly. And if you look up here, you can see the types of things that citizens can propose. Again, an amendment, state law, or bring up a referendum. Now, in Arkansas, we say ballot issue or ballot measure, citizen initiative. These terms all refer to the same thing. It's a proposed policy put on the statewide ballot for voters to decide. Now, constitutional amendments change our state constitution, and they can add policy, change wording, or totally remove policy. Arkansans can also propose state laws which would be similar to if the legislature proposed and passed a law. We also have the referendum process in Arkansas, which is when voters decide whether to keep or repeal a new law passed after a legislative session. This isn't used much in Arkansas, but it is available to us. Now, let's kind of go through just a refresher real quick. Many of you are probably very well informed and know the history of this, but let's get everybody on the same page. The Arkansas legislature also has the ability to put constitutional amendments on the ballot for voters to decide. In fact, they can do up to 3 issues on the general election ballot. Okay, let me tell you right now. I mess up words big time, and these words are so close. So legislators proposed 33 proposals for the ballot when they met in 2023, but only 1 referred to voters on the 2024 ballot. This is actually the smallest number of legislative ballot measures in the past 40 years. Thought that was kind of interesting.
Why? Do you know?
Either they just decided they didn't pass like through committees and things like that, or just didn't go through the whole process. Some of them, they may have tabled for further investigation or,
Unpopular.
and possibly, yes, some may have been unpopular. That, I don't have the list. Kristen Higgins, though, would probably be able to share, all of the different options for it. So the citizen initiative process in Arkansas is actually year-round. Really, you only start hearing about some of these things close to election time, but it is actually year-round, with ballot issue groups first submitting their ballot titles to the Attorney General's office for certification. Then the Attorney General will either reject a ballot title if he finds the wording misleading, incomplete, or full of partisan phrases. So they have to go through that process first. There are lots of rules for paid canvassers who after a recent law change must now be Arkansas residents to collect voter signatures. In fact, I was interested in that and I looked up the list. So if anybody wants to look at the rules on that, I can let you look at my copy of it. The citizen-led ballot issue groups must collect a certain number of signatures from voters. For 2024 ballot issues, the ballot issue groups needed 90,704 voter signatures from at least 50 states of the state's 75 counties to qualify for the ballot. In those 50 counties, they must collect signatures equaling 5% of the number of people who voted for governor in that county. So you can see it's a pretty complicated process. Yeah.
Do they have to prove they voted for the governor or they voted for a governor?
It's, if they voted, there is record of them voting.
It doesn't say who they voted
Oh, no. Yes. No, it does not matter who they voted for. It just means that they voted in that gubernatorial election. Yes, that's a good question. All right, so they make sure, this is pretty complicated and stuff, because then that means for each county, there's a different number that is the accepted number for it. So they have to do their homework, and it gives you a little bit of assurance that the people doing these are, if you're going to go that far, you got some interest in it. All right, so let's kind of go through this. The citizen and the legislative initiated ballot measures are always at the bottom of the ballot. They will contain the popular name and title only. And they will be in a specific order. The legislative issues go first. The citizen-initiated amendments go next. And then the citizen-initiated laws are the final thing. And so they're always in that order when you see them on the ballot. So there's no surprises or anything like that. So this year, we have 3 statewide issues for voters to decide. So, while we get into this, let me make a reminder. If you do have a question and I can answer it, I will answer it for you. I don't propose to know everything about this, but Kristen does do a really good job of preparing us, and I tried to do my homework. All right, so what's interesting, like I said before, about this year's election is that all 3 ballot issues involve a topic that the voters approved in the last 15 years. And that's a little unusual actually for them. The three issues on the ballot this year propose changes to past amendments. So let's look at issue 1, all right? Issue 1 is a constitutional amendment proposed by the Arkansas legislature. Representative Robin Lundstrom of Elm Springs was the main sponsor, and then Senator Jane English of North Little Rock was another. All right, the proposal seeks to expand the types of educational institutions that qualify for state lottery scholarships. Currently, lottery scholarships can be used at private and public, nonprofit, 2- and 4-year colleges and universities in the state. Issue 1 would also allow students to use lottery scholarships at private and public vocational technical schools and technical institutes. Now, it's anticipated that then the legislature would pass additional laws in future sessions to determine who is eligible to receive the scholarships and grants under this proposal and which schools qualify for that or programs. Now, it's kind of interesting on this, just a little aside on that. For the fiscal year for 2023, the lottery produced a record $114.7 million for scholarships. Since its inception in 2009, ASL has raised more than $1.2 billion in scholarship proceeds. FY23 was also the second highest financial year in sales, with $607.6 million worth of lottery tickets sold. More than 720,000 college scholarships have been awarded to Arkansans. Now, there's several different scholarship programs with this. There's the Arkansas Academic Challenge Scholarship, the Arkansas Workforce Challenge Scholarship, and the Arkansas Concurrent Challenge Scholarship. And so these are different things that students can apply for. Now, during the recent legislative session, the legislature created the Arkansas Challenge Plus Scholarship, which provides additional funding for students with an academic challenge scholarship based on their financial needs. The Challenge Plus will start accepting students this fall. Now, in this one, a vote for means you are in favor of changing the state constitution to allow proceeds from lottery ticket sales to also fund scholarships and grants at vocational technical schools and technical institutes. A vote against means you are not in favor of changing the state constitution. The lottery-funded scholarships would continue to be limited to the students attending public or private, nonprofit 2- or 4-year colleges and universities. Now, I said that because remember, sometimes a ballot issue, if you're for it, you vote against it, or vice versa. So we try to give the information because sometimes when, this is from personal experience. You know, I have gone into the voting booth at times, thought I was prepared, and looked at those things and kind of went, oh, wait, what was I going to vote again? So try to give you enough information that you can be clear in your mind. By the way, you can bring a slip of paper. I did that the last election. I brought a slip of paper with me. It wasn't interfering with anyone else in the building, but I had written down ahead of time what I was planning to vote or how I was planning to vote. So you can do that. There is nothing wrong with that. Let's look at issue number 2. This is to repeal Polk County Casino.
Is that going to be statewide?
This,
Yes.
yes, it is because it is on a state constitutional amendment. So it will be voted statewide. Okay, so issue number 2 is a citizen-initiated amendment seeking to remove Polk County from the Arkansas Constitution as an authorized location for casino gambling, or gaming, excuse me. Voters in 2018 approved the Amendment 100, establishing 4 authorized casino locations in the state. Those locations included Polk County, Jefferson County, and the racetracks in Hot Springs and Oklahoma. All right. Issue 2 would only affect the Polk County location, where a casino has not been built yet. The state recently issued the Polk County license to Cherokee Nation Entertainment to operate Legends Casino and Resort. However, the construction hasn't started yet, and there is a federal lawsuit over the license.
Can
Now,
I ask you something?
yes,
I work for the Gaming Commission in New Mexico, and they have legalized gambling. They've got more gaming machines than the population of Texas. And I don't understand this thing about having to have a casino or restricting it to a place when gambling machines can be put in any public organization, like in New Mexico,
Arkansas has stricter requirements for
Yeah.
that. So again, it was limited to those 4 locations for it.
Explain why just those 4, and why it's
Because that's what the issue chose to do the last time it was on the ballot.
Well, I'm hearing a lot of information coming across the internet about why this should not be allowed and why they should be allowed, It's money organizations trying to keep gambling control in Arkansas to a minimum.
There is,
Judy,
Yes?
we have to try and keep this very impartial, so we're not gonna discuss.
Okay, sorry. Thank you.
well, I'll say this, again, there's lots of strong opinions on both sides of this, whether you're for the casinos or not. So let's get into the details, because this does not affect the casinos overall. It is strictly to affect one county, okay? As to whether they have a casino actually built and established in their county. So again, in addition to eliminating the Polk County casino license, issue 2 would also require countywide elections in the event there are ever any future casino licenses approved by voters statewide. The amendment would require local voter approval for any future locations. Now, let's qualify that. That would only be triggered if there is actually a future constitutional amendment with new licenses to be approved in a statewide vote. The reason they added this was because this issue failed in 2018 in Polk County, but it was approved throughout the rest of the state. So that's why this was brought back up. Now, let me just pause for just a minute here. One of the things that Kristen Higgins does is she provides a newsletter that comes out depending on what is happening. Sometimes it's just once a month, but like at this time of year, she'll send it out every couple of weeks to keep everybody posted on what is happening, say with court cases and things like that. And anyone can sign up for these e-newsletters, or you can go to our extension website under the Public Policy Center, and you can read those newsletters. Now, I have copies of the past, like a couple months with me. I've made multiple copies of the latest one for September. But then, September. And then I made some copy, like a copy each of the last couple months. Because what she does is she does go into more detail, explaining some of the things that are happening, where I can't share, I could share, or I'd have to read just everything to you. So that newsletter is great. And like I said, anyone can sign up for it. And the copies there have the information, so how you can sign up. So,
Excuse me?
yes.
So the information on how to sign up is in this one?
Yes, yes, so it'll say at the back. Now, what you would go to our extension webpage, and if you do have trouble finding it, then you can always email me or call my office, and I can forward one to you, and then you can just click, which does make it a little more convenient.
All right, where is your information?
I'll share it. I have my information on any of those colored little folded brochures. My information is on there, our office, everything with it. Okay, that's probably the easiest thing right there. Okay, so there has been a lawsuit on this ballot issue. Opponents have asked the Arkansas Supreme Court to strike issue 2 from the ballot. Opponents have challenged the ballot title and the sponsor's signature gathering process. So we actually should know something about this one, the outcome of this lawsuit, actually in October. And now it is actually before the Arkansas Supreme Court. All right, so let's look at issue number 3. This is the expand medical marijuana law. Now, issue 3 is a citizen initiated amendment and would expand the state's medical marijuana program that Arkansas voters originally approved in 2016. Before we look at the proposed changes to the medical marijuana program, I want to note that issue 3 would prevent state legislators from changing or repealing any constitutional amendments without another vote from the people. The state constitution allows the legislature to make changes with 2/3 vote, but there is some legal question about whether that is just applicable for state laws, or if it also applies to the constitutional amendments. This proposal would specifically establish that legislators couldn't make changes to any constitutional amendments without another vote, unless an amendment specifically gives the legislators permission. Now let's go into the changes that this is proposing. First, issue 3 would expand the types of healthcare practitioners who can certify an Arkansan for a medical marijuana card issued by the Arkansas Department of Health. Currently, only doctors can do this. Under issue 3, that authority would be expanded to nurse practitioners, physician assistants, and pharmacists. This proposal would also allow healthcare professionals to determine whether an Arkansan has a condition that could benefit from the use of medical marijuana. Currently, there are 18 conditions which would continue to be in the Constitution, but this proposal would allow for adding more conditions, and we'll look at those in a minute. Now, let's look at some of the circumstances of this. Arkansans approved medical marijuana program in 2016. Since then, we now have 100,000 or 105, I'll say it right, 105,544 active patient cards. That would, if they had all applied at the same time, be equal to $5.2 million if they had applied at the same time. The proposal would expand existing the medical marijuana program. Marijuana is still illegal at the federal level. This brings the total for 2024 for the medical marijuana purchases to $158.5 million and 42,602 pounds purchased. Since the first dispensary opened in 2019, Arkansans have spent approximately $1.2 billion on medical marijuana purchases. That's an
Stoners, right?
No, this is medical marijuana.
I'm teasing.
All right. Now, Scott Hardin, who is the spokesperson for the Department of Finance and Administration, did note, although the overall spending has actually decreased since last year, they continue to see the pounds sold increasing, which indicates that the prices have lowered for it. Now, just referencing here, Suite 443 here in Hot Springs led sales in Arkansas in July at 731 pounds. And several of us are close to the Hot Spring County, and Hot Spring County residents, there are actually 1,183 residents that had cards last year. So what that place is close to the Hot Spring County, Garland County border. And so that's why that was relevant information for us. Okay, so let's talk a little further about this. Now, these are the current conditions, and the Department of Health hasn't added any since the program launched in 2019. So, right now, a person who has been certified by a doctor for the medical marijuana program pays a $50 application fee to the state every year to renew their card. Issue 3 would remove that application fee and say cards are good for 3 years before they must be renewed. And a person has to go back to a healthcare professional. Issue 3 would also allow card holders who are 21 years old and older to grow marijuana plants at home. Under this amendment, card holders could grow up to 7 smaller plants and 7 larger plants for a total of 14 plants at home. Now, there is a limit of 14 plants, even if more than one person in a household has a medical marijuana card. This proposal would allow patients to see healthcare professionals over video when they are first applying for certification. Currently, they can only use the telehealth for renewals of their certification. Now, when it comes to dispensaries, issue 3 would make several changes, including these: allowing dispensaries to sell items they can't currently sell, such as bongs, pipes, rolling papers, anything related to smoking. They would also be able to sell marijuana seeds or plants to card holders who want to grow plants at home under this proposal. Dispensaries could also sell medical marijuana to people who have cards from other states. They would no longer need to visit an Arkansas doctor and fill out an Arkansas application. So you can see there's a lot of changes to the original. All right, a few more things about it. There would be several changes to the way medical marijuana can be advertised in Arkansas. Issue 3 replaced the specific advertising restrictions with general language requiring dispensaries, processors, and growers to avoid making advertising, packaging, and products appealing to children. The Alcohol Beverage Control Division has oversight over the packaging of this. Now, issue 3 would also say that the state of Arkansas could be sued if legislators or agencies didn't enact these new laws. And this is called waiving sovereign immunity. Finally, issue 3 would allow adults in Arkansas to possess up to 1 ounce of marijuana for personal use if the federal government ever decriminalizes marijuana sales and possession. Essentially, it would put in place a law to allow recreational marijuana if it ever becomes legal at the federal level. Only the cultivators and dispensaries that have state licenses could legally sell marijuana under this proposal. So you can see there's quite a few changes in there, and there's some extra things that would come with that. Now, again, I don't have the arguments that usually we are presented with at this point. They will be in the books, and you'll be able to see what those who are for and those who are against are saying and their reasoning why that they say this, and which is really useful because sometimes they will share things that I hadn't considered before. So it does help when I'm trying to look and make some decisions. But let's look at a few important dates. All right. Absentee voting is getting underway, and will be Arkansas. Yes, not yesterday. I'm off on my dates. the 17th was actually voter registration day. Did anybody celebrate on that? Woohoo! Big holiday there. All right. So October 7th is the deadline to register to vote. Now, the blue and the green handout I have, that handout on the table over there is especially useful for someone who will be voting for the first time. Maybe they've just turned 18 and they are not really sure the process. Or sometimes too, we have conditions, like maybe a family member has voted every year and they're having to go into an assisted living situation or something like that. So that has some very useful practical information on how to handle that. Or for a parent who is trying to talk to their young person about, okay, here's what you need to know to get registered, and here's where you can go and stuff. So those are two. The blue one is in English and the green one is in Spanish, or reversed. I can't remember for sure. You'll figure it out. All right, October 21st, early voting starts. And of course, November 5th is election day. So those are big things. Now, we always have an evaluation for the programming and stuff. And I have some paper copies of the evaluation for this program, but you can just scan this with your QR code reader and go straight to that. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, so let me share one thing. I can go back to this if anybody wants it. All right, so here is a really great way to stay current and up to date. So you can also scan this QR code to sign up for the newsletter. So that gets you straight to the newsletter. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, X, and Instagram. So you can go through those, and Kristen is excellent about providing up-to-date information. She spoke not too long ago at a conference, and I believe Stacy McCullough and another person from our office will be speaking on PBS not too long from now. So they will have the latest information as well. Any other questions or comments? I will say again, I have some information over there. One of the other handouts that I have is about taking time to make sure, like when you do see something, say online, or somebody tells you something, before you repeat it, how do you actually confirm that it's true? And so, because we do have that problem, I have in the past seen things and just been either shocked or upset or whatever, and then to come later, after doing a little bit more research on it, found out, oh, well, that's really wasn't what it was, or that really wasn't the case. That didn't happen that way. That was somebody saying something. So we do have a handout that's really useful for kind of giving you some tips for how to determine, is this true? Is this false? Do I need to share it? Is it valid? Or is it old news and they're rehashing it when it had already been settled? Things like that. Politics can be very volatile. And so we want to make sure that we're doing our part to support people who are actually involved in politics, but also making sure that we keep our communities the wonderful places that they are, that we love to be in, by just taking some time and being informed citizens.
Allison?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you go back to the other QR codes and
Yes.
evaluation?
Yes. I will leave that up. All right, I appreciate everyone. Again, if you need help getting that, grab one of the purple, blue, or yellow folded brochures. Those also share some of our programs that I currently work with, or our FCS SNAP agent does. And if you would like to just fill out a paper copy, you can raise your hand. I'll gladly bring you one.
Thank you so much, Allison. And speaking of QR codes, John at the table in the back, one, if anybody in here doesn't happen to be registered, he has registration forms for you. He also has cards that have a QR code on them. You can scan that. It takes you to the Secretary of State's website. Enter your first name, your last name, your date of birth. It will pull up your registration. If it doesn't, then there's something wrong with your registration and you need to check on that or re-register. Once it pulls up your registration, right below that is a sample ballot for your particular address. So you can, look at it, perhaps even print it off ahead of time, but refer to that. And as Allison said, early voting here starts on October the 21st. It has already begun in some other states. And so I happen to be an election commissioner, and we have people coming by the commission every day wanting to vote. So like she said, everything you hear does not necessarily apply to Arkansas, such as online registration. We do not have that in Arkansas. Thank you once again for coming, and I believe that Paul has an announcement to make. Yes.
For those who may be sending in an absentee ballot, do you know the deadline for that to be received in the clerk's office?
I'm thinking maybe Friday. Friday the. Are you talking the actual ballot when it has to be back in?
Yes.
I don't know, has Paul left? I cannot recall for sure. No, I was talking about. Because I know that October 7th is for registration.
Because I want to say in the clerk's office, somebody gave me a date and I wrote it down and then I gave it to the paperweight. I want to say 29.
29th may be the date. No, not 29th. I don't have a calendar in front of me. I'm thinking it may be the close of business the Friday before election day, because I know it just recently changed. And it can be hand delivered maybe up through Monday afternoon, and after that it's no. Thank you. So no, but if you call the county clerk's office, they can let you know, or I can look it up and send it to you. And it should be included in the absentee application packet you received.
Oh, okay. I probably have copies of that to give to people and I haven't even read it. So.
Okay. Paul, make your announcement and then we're through. Thank you so much for having us here.
Thank you.
So I want to invite everybody to an event we're having in less than 2 weeks on Tuesday, October 1st. We have a candidate forum for all of the Justice of the Peace candidates in Garland County. I expect all of them that are opposed on the ballot to be present and give their speeches, and there will also be time to answer audience questions as well. So that is at 6 p.m. Tuesday, October 1st. I would highly recommend getting here early to get a seat because we hosted the same forum during the primary and it was standing room only. We were definitely breaking fire code in this room. So get here early. That will also be live streamed and just like this, but if you would like to be present in person to potentially ask a question for your candidate or one of the other candidates, you'll want to be here in person. So, and thank you again, Kay and Allison, for the presentation.
Sure.